Today, we're going to be discussing one of the funniest commentary channels that's living rent-free inside of an entire podcast network's head. I'm talking about Point and Shoot, and how he's obliterating the confidence of like 30 podcast hosts on the No Jumper podcast network. Welcome to another episode of Catching You Up with
Nadav. Here's COVID.
I would like to thank the executive producer of this episode, Average Ed. Without the big baller support of Average Ed, I would probably be dumpster diving behind Apple stores, just trying to find empty boxes of Apple iPhones and then kind of add some weight to them and then selling all those on eBay. Sure, some of them might come back and ask for refunds, but a lot of them might not. But because of Average Ed, I'm not locked up in appeals court trying to make sure I'm holding on to all the money I'm making. And if you'd like to become a big baller supporter of the show, go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Comment, like, subscribe, it all helps. So before we get into how funny the YouTube channel Point and Shoot is, let me give you a little brief history on No Jumper. Before it was a podcast network, it was just a podcast. And before it was a podcast, it was just a blog on Tumblr. It started in 2011, it was revived in 2016, and then it just slowly snowballed into a bigger and bigger property. Allegedly, Adam started it with someone else and then kind of took control over it. But Adam was a BMXer that was really into hip-hop, and so the blog touched on some BMX stuff and a lot of hip-hop stuff. The blog turned into a podcast where Adam22 started interviewing notable people in hip-hop. But you know, just like everyone else, I would catch a podcast here and there. Aaron Carter's losing his mind on No Jumper. Oh, the Island Boys are on there. Boonk is super drunk. Lil Xan's on here? Who the fuck is that guy? But you know what? No Jumper was a cool portal through the looking glass to kind of just see like, who the fuck are these SoundCloud rappers? But I could probably count on two hands how many No Jumper podcasts I've seen. And then from the No Jumper podcast, it evolved into a podcast network where Adam22 hired a whole bunch of people to kind of have different hip-hop oriented themed shows. So now you have the same basic background that I did on No Jumper. Enter, point, and shoot. Sorry if I'm over-enunciating the T's on that. I was raised by foreigners. Point and Shoot first infiltrated my algorithm when I saw him cover Adam22 rage quitting the Whatever podcast, where he ran into an old rival that was clowning on him really hard.
All right, so for this video, I want to go over this situation with Adam16 storming off the Whatever podcast in what appeared to be a frantic, rage-fueled paroxysm of self-hatred and cuckoldry. And so Adam goes on this Whatever podcast to debate people about his cuckness, and one of his old foes from back in the day was also happened to be on the show, and they didn't know that each other were going to be on. He just starts insulting the 16 and starts having a meltdown on the show, and he walks off, storms off, and it was really crazy because this isn't typical 16 behavior. I think Adam is getting really close to his breaking point with all the cuckening that's been going on, that's been occurring over the last 6 months.
Man, what a strong intro to a video. And this dude is pretty funny. Whether his observations are funny, his impressions are funny, or his editing tricks are adding in all sorts of visual jokes, this is just kind of like a good watch. But check out how hard Point and Shoot is shitting on Adam22.
I want to show you this clip of Adam16 debating this other guy about whether or not Adam16 is in a monogamous relationship with Lena the Plug.
Either you're monogamous or you're not monogamous.
If you got a movie role and you kissed a girl in the movie role, would you still be monogamous in your relationship? I mean, I realize that the sex thing is more of a real physical act, right?
Did you compare a movie kiss? You compared a movie kiss to your girl getting smacked down?
It literally
by
they're making a piece of content. They're making a film.
All right, so these two guys fucking hate each other. And my first impression of this is that this guy over here is like having a good time. He's smiling. He's not really taking things too serious. And then you got Adam16, who's visibly shaking with anger and frustration because he is a meme. He is a clown. And nobody respects him. And so this guy's just like easily roasting him.
Just look at how relentless he is.
Adam probably wants to look cool in front of all these people, right? And then you got this other guest that's just absolutely shredding him and talking about his marriage and stuff like that to his face. I mean, that's how big of a puss Adam is. You could just talk shit right to his face and he will do nothing but sit there.
I'm a sex worker as well.
Settled.
Yeah.
And you both have
666.
herpes.
What the?
You're
actually broke.
Here's the funny.
You got a milk dud on top of your head.
Here's the funny thing.
I'm just being real with you.
You got a milk dud on top of your head. Like, where is that accent coming from?
Milk dud on top of your head.
You got a milk dud on top of your head. I think that's really cringe. And I just want to point out, Adam is legally bald. He had a hair transplant. He is delusional.
Like, this is the show for me, right?
Let's just take a little pause.
I
didn't mean to make him
I
rage
think
quit.
I'm done,
No,
Brian.
Adam.
I don't want to listen to this guy anymore, and I feel like I might do something extreme if I were to stick around.
Hold on. When I first walked in, I said,
might
"Do you
have
want
to
the
polish
fade?"
that milk dud.
When I first walked,
guys,
when I
guys,
saw you
appreciate you
downstairs,
guys.
I said, "Do you want the fade?" And you said no.
I want it noted that Adam fully sags his pants. Okay, with this big old wonky lower body. His lower body is so out of pocket compared to the rest of it. His like legs are huge, right? His legs, his hips, huge. But then he's got this dainty little upper body, making for an incredibly awkward physique. And so when he stands up, some of the girls are looking at him, and it looks like they're just going, "Oh, what the fuck? That's hella weird." And so I just want to point that out. And yeah.
God damn, dude, he's making fun of his butt. Let's take a quick break to tell you about this week's sponsor, Blue Chew. If you want to wow your partner in bed, you need Blue Chew. It's an online service that sends ED medicine right to your door at a fraction of the cost of what the other guys are charging. With the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, you know you're getting quality. And here's the thing, I've taken it, I have friends that have taken it, and it just really takes that experience to the next level. With Blue Chew, you're able to keep both of your heads in the game, top head and your dick head. And hey, if your top head stopped working, you would do something to fix it, right? Why don't you treat your dick head the same way? Everything's done online, so you don't have to step foot into a doctor's office or a pharmacy. It could not be easier. Just meet with one of their licensed medical providers, and you'll get your prescription within days. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we have a special deal with all of our Catching You Up with Nadav listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use code Nadav at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. That's bluechew.com and use promo code Nadav to get your first month for free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. Let's get back to the show. This really is like classic schoolyard bullying, but what makes it incredibly funny is that he's doing this to like 40-year-olds. I'm getting an entertaining, condensed highlight version of stuff I would never bother watching. And I'm watching like 10 to 20 minute excerpts of his content that is bypassing hours of footage that I would have had to watch in order to understand all the stuff that he's talking about. And granted, this is all biased. Like, yeah, he's reporting everything through the lens of trying to mock everyone on No Jumper. And as long as you know that some of these observations are going to be inherently wrong, it doesn't stop it from being entertaining. It's kind of like watching comedy roasts. Here's another hit piece he did on someone named 1090 Jake that's kind of affiliated with this No Jumper crew.
Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Point and Shoot. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be talking about my snitching allegations and how I wrote a statement against another inmate. So this is actually snitching. Okay, there's no way to talk your way out of it this time. I mean, there's a whole handwritten statement signed by Jacob Cherry. And we're going to be going over all of it. It's like Christmas around here. I can't believe that he's been exposed to this extent. This is really ugly for him, you know?
His impressions really are so funny.
Usually when we see 1090 Jake talking about snitches, he's usually like this. It was at that time that I knew that he snitched because I seen the paperwork. If it's on paperwork, you know what I mean? He's really calm, cool, collected. But not on this video. He actually tries to start out cool and in character, but he breaks character as soon as the heat turns up in the chat. All he sees is rat emojis of all different colors. So his cadence changes. He starts going, how am I supposed to be on paperwork if it was a grievance?
And he'll always try and throw No Jumper under the bus whenever he can, which is just fun to watch.
He's actually fucked. But luckily for him, he does have the support of the gangbanging headquarters, aka No Jumper. Look at this disgusting display of these disgraced gang members, former gang members and hood hoppers and everything else. They're all sitting around on No Jumper trying to shill for Jake and go to bat for him. Watch this.
But now they said that the grievance, they saying that you could do a grievance, but you ain't supposed to name drop in the grievance, right? So that's where it's split.
Yeah, but
at.
what he said was
give a full everybody's name.
no, but what he said is they got caught. The dude did it in front of the police. Like there's nothing that he's saying that everybody doesn't know. You know what I mean? He said that he was in front of the
He
police.
said he got attacked
So
in
this
front of.
bald idiot is saying he did it in front of the police, so there's no new information. Then why did Jake need to explain it?
I have no idea who these people are. But you know, watching this content kind of feels like if your girl was watching Love is Blind or 90 Day Fiance. Like, nah, I'm not going to watch that shit with her. But you know, if I'm walking through the living room and I notice something, I'm going to be like, hey, is that the guy that ate sushi off that other dude's girlfriend's feet?
All right, so for this episode, I want to talk about Sharp Rob from the Crane Crushers getting his girlfriend stolen from him by new No Jumper cast member, Comparator. I want to go over this because I think this is important because Sharp is down bad. He's falling way off. His numbers are in the shit box. And so he's pretty much a loser at this point. And it's a really devastating situation for him. So I want to actually highlight all of this because it's entertaining, okay? And it's funny to me. So we're going to start with our first clip. This is going to be Comparator eating sushi off of the disgusting, sweaty, stank feet of Sharp's girlfriend. Watch this.
Show me what you got, pussy.
Like, goddamn, look how hard he's going in on this dude named Sharp.
Look at his fucking face. He's got the Jafar, or the scar scratch tattoo. He looks like a clown. He looks like, I always thought Sharp would join one of those emo bands. I thought that's what he was going for with this look. He looks like a goth. I think it'd be fucking sick if Dijon and Sharp were in a fucking screamo band. And Dijon's like, suck up my wrists and black my eyes. And Sharp's like, and black my eyes. I told you, church. It ain't the way. You know what I mean? Like something like that. That would be fucking sick.
And yes, this is juvenile, it's immature, it's toxic, but that doesn't stop it from being entertaining. Now, here's the biggest mistake that any podcaster or content creator can make, and that's addressing the person that is your biggest hater. Here's a clip of them revealing just how much everyone at that podcast network watches this guy's stuff.
Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. I ain't gonna name drop.
Who does the clip shit?
He's steering narratives out there. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know
what
exactly
It is
what I'm
a new
talking
David Russell.
It's a new David Russell out there.
I want to slap the shit out of him. I ain't gonna lie to you. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
How y'all found
Fuck him.
found a troll account that's
He's no troll.
that's posting clips?
No, he's no troll. He goes as far as narrate the shit.
I don't think I know who you're talking about, but I might know who you guys are talking about. Is this the same person that Flakko had issues with?
Me? Who?
This nigga got issues with getting everybody up here.
I do know who you're talking
I'm about to name drop if you keep acting funny.
I got at him.
I'm about to name drop. Point and shoot.
Yeah.
Pays attention to what's going on in No Jumper Universe.
Which is kind of like, because he's down to a T. It's like that's all he does is sit there and fixate himself on our content to make his content. He tries to get a little too accurate with it, like, and then tries to paint his own narratives in the mix of it, you know? I don't like that, my nigga. He gets the right piece of fucking steak, but then he seasons it wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, my nigga, he be throwing his twist on it. I don't fuck with that shit. I want to slap the shit out that nigga I ever seen.
All right, so I have no idea what I did to Sharp, but he does not like me. I have no idea what I could have ever done or said about him to make him want to slap the shit out of me. That's really disrespectful. I'm gonna have to make a series of videos about Sharp coming up here soon. I've got a lot of content on Sharp, and so I will be retaliating against Sharp for that comment.
Unless you have a game plan on how to publicly address this, even just noting that you're aware of a specific person that's talking shit on you, it almost never does well for you. And this could be explained through something called the Streisand Effect. The Streisand Effect is named after Barbara Streisand. And what it boils down to is addressing something that you don't want people knowing, but in you addressing that, it now puts it on a lot more people's radar. This came from 2003 when some article was talking about the eroding cliffs or hillsides of Malibu, and Barbara Streisand didn't like that her property was in the picture. So she tried to put out a cease and desist and get it removed, and in doing that, everyone was like, oh shit, is that Barbara Streisand's house? And it just put it on everyone's radar. And it would have been on a lot less people's radar if she just didn't do shit. And so when you address that there's a hater that somehow made it onto your radar, that hater is now like, they see me, huh? Now there's Legion of Skanks who have kind of handled this pretty expertly.
Well, the people who are trying to get people canceled is a different thing. Critical, like shit talking, to me is the funniest because they definitely hit on the things you think about yourself. And that's why it's funny.
They're objectively saying, hey, This dude's jokes are pretty funny, and it'd be pretty hypocritical of us to say that we can't take a joke, right? And anyone that's in the Legion of Skanks proximity kind of gets the benefit of them handling it so well. For example, there's a talent that Legion of Skanks are kind of building. His name is Amico, and he makes diss tracks and raps and stuff at other comedians' expense, and the raps are kind of fire. They're funny. And so he just released a diss track on Two Bears, One Cave called Two Bears, One Grave. And on the Legion of Skanks, Lewis called up Bert and was like, hey man, listen to this song, let me know what you think.
What the fuck kind of shade am I getting from this Amico?
It's a hilarious rap he made about you and Tom.
Yeah, he's obviously a fan of yours.
He's a fan. He is a fan.
It was called
I promise you he's a fan.
Wait a minute, it was called Two Bears, One Grave.
Bert listens to the song and then responds in one of the most tactfully great ways that he could have responded.
Oh, so glad you sent that to me. That guy really's done his research.
He's a fan. That's my point. He's a fan. He's a fan of all.
It was more about me than my fucking wife.
He did have one shitting on LA comics that you would actually like.
You would love it.
It wasn't shitting on LA. It was called LA is Gay, and then it just turned into a diss track on Brendan Schaub the entire time.
I'll tell you what, if Amico wants to freestyle on Fully Loaded, I'll bring him out.
Whoa! What?
I meant only pain, and now there's happiness?
Let me tell you something.
I'll set that up.
The audience would go fucking nuts. By the way,
which is kind of the best way to respond to this stuff. Why compete with the negativity when you can just join forces with it? Another good example of someone that kind of handled this well, which was surprising, was Steve-O. When he went and did a press tour for, I think, his new comedy special, he was phoning it in on a lot of different appearances, like the Adam Friedland Show or the Danny Brown Show, and Too Lazy to Try made a video calling him out. And then Steve-O responded to that video saying,
hey, dude, you got a lot of really good numbers, and you're right. All those observations are right. And, hey, man, it's a good video, good job, good content, and all I can say is that I'm going to apologize and try to do better.
That is my best impression of Steve-O that I could do. But look, you can't argue with Steve-O's track record. He started off as a stunt person / clown on Jackass, and then transitioned over to comedy, and he's doing pretty well with it. And that was a great way to respond. The way to respond to people that disagree with you is not, hey man, fuck you, you just suck. That's why you're fucking talking shit. That's not how you respond to them. If you agree with what they say, be like, you know what? There's a lot of things that you said that kind of resonated with me. And you know what? You're right. I do need to try and do better. And if you address anyone making hate content about you, it should be with that kind of perspective. Anything else just kind of feels off. But it's an interesting YouTube landscape that we find ourselves in right now. But that's really all that content creators could really hope for. It's just making stuff that they'd like, making stuff that they'd watch. Try to not let negative comment sections fully consume them, because it's fully capable of doing that to literally every single person that creates content. But the smart ones stay out of the comment section for the most part. And I'll be putting all the videos that I reference from Point and Shoot in the description below. I'll be putting the Amico song in there, and then also the Too Lazy to Try video about Steve-O. Man, what a fun video we did this week, huh? I'd like to thank all the producers that you're seeing on screen right now. Without their help, I wouldn't be able to put out this content as quickly and as well-ly as I'm able to week after week. And if you'd like to become a producer of this show, you could go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Now's a good time to remind you, comment on this video, like this video, subscribe to this channel, share it with a friend, all that good stuff. It all helps the algorithm. And most importantly, I want to remind you,
This is a totally unconfirmed news.